Welcome to Meet Me Halfway. I am Jordan Griffith. He is Austin McNorton. Once again, we are so happy to be with you. Just a great show. Got a lot of NFL news coming at you. Just
1 week away from the draft, man. One week away.
From the draft. Austin, how happy are we to be doing this?
Oh, I can't. It's amazing. I look forward to it every time. Every time we come on, I look forward to it.
Exactly. I mean, it's like we're in college again. But, just like 3,000 miles away.
Those old Buco days, man.
To the old Buco days. I still cannot believe that we were able to interview DeMarcus Lawrence. That's still to me. I still am baffled by it.
Especially with all of his recent success, man. Like we got him right when he became a monster. Right when he became. I like to say it's because of us because it is.
Well, obviously. That's what science would.
Seriously, right when that man became one of the top pass rushers in the NFL, that's when we got him.
Yeah.
Unbelievable stuff.
Exactly. It just hurts me.
I know.
So it just hurts me that we're not still there, that we're not still in the grind. But you know what? I think I can deal with it.
Hey, now we're doing 2 shows a week instead of 1, though. So
that is true. We do have 2 shows a week now, an hour, and pretty much an hour. It's pretty much however long we want to talk because we try to keep it to an hour.
Has it ever been an hour right on the dot? Because I don't think it has once.
No, it has not. No.
Because one time we started talking about the unwritten rules of using fountain drinks. No ice in the drink.
Right.
We talked about Wayne Gretzky, the great one.
Mm-hmm.
Like we always do.
Astronomy,
of course, that's an automatic.
Astronomy is kind of the biggest part. Fact or fiction is just a whole entity in itself.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay. Going to dive in right into the NFL. Russell Wilson, like we were talking about last time, I predicted that he would get paid and that he deserved it. He is now the highest paid player in the NFL, including quarterbacks. Austin, first of all, what do you just think about the deal?
At first I was like, I don't know how long, maybe how long term they should go. I'm surprised they paid him as much as they did, but he's their guy. They needed to keep him as their guy. I just didn't think it would be this massive of a deal.
And it was only 4 years as well, so it wasn't as long term as at least I was thinking.
True.
He's 30 years old.
I think 4 years is a great time. I'm surprised it was that much though, but he's their guy. He took him to back-to-back Super Bowls, won a Marine. He's their guy. Keep him there.
Right. I love the deal. I don't care how much it was to pay him. I think he's the most underrated quarterback I've seen in my generation so far. I think he's one of the most underappreciated players I've ever seen. I love the deal. I don't care what it takes to pay that kind of guy. You just have to keep him. I think that's always when it comes to franchise quarterbacks, because teams will go into 20 years of losing because they never find that guy. They never find the Russell Wilson. The Bills, Josh Allen might be the guy. The reason that they haven't been good since Jim Kelly is because they haven't had another Jim Kelly.
There's so many teams where you can say that. Miami, Cleveland has been a team.
People forget about New Orleans before they got Drew Brees. They were the Cleveland Browns of the NFC because they didn't have Drew Brees.
Yep.
It's that simple. When you look at Indianapolis Colts, as soon as Peyton Manning had that neck surgery, the transition year between him going to free agency or him being injured rather, and drafting Andrew Luck the very next year, I think they won 1 game that year, I believe. They might have won 0. I'm not sure.
And then they found their guy.
And then they found their guy, and then all of a sudden they're back in the playoffs, 9-7, 11-5. Great years that they're having with a franchise quarterback. That's all it takes.
There's teams in Seattle's division that's the same way. Arizona, San Francisco, maybe, that are just like, we are still looking for our guy. Garoppolo might be the guy for San Francisco, but they don't know for sure. They haven't seen enough from him yet.
Yeah, exactly. So I have no problem with never letting those guys go out of town. I don't care what you have to pay for them. I don't care if you overpay. But a good question.
How would you feel about the Chiefs then? The Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes is probably going to be deserving of the highest paid player in the NFL.
Right. That's fine. I don't care. Did you watch him last year? 50 touchdowns and 5,000 yards in pretty much his rookie season, his first season where he actually got any experience on the field. I'm okay with that. Now, of course, I always wait until after the second year. The sophomore slump is always what I'm looking for. You have to make it through. I judge you basically what you are after your second year, because I feel like that's when teams have finally got the book on you. They know what you're going to do, what you need to do, be stopped, what they know that you're successful at. And with Patrick Mahomes, we're not sure what that's going to be. Maybe he has a sophomore slump. I mean, it's very possible. Happens to a lot of people.
How
Maybe
much?
he's enough to where he doesn't.
So speaking on sophomore slumps, then how much do you think guys like Dak Prescott and Carson Wentz are? Because they were like the top rookies at that time. Dak Prescott winning Rookie of the Year. Then their sophomore slump. I mean, that kind of hurt them. How much do you think they're worth now? Because I'd say they're both above average quarterbacks, probably both top 15, top 10 in the league. So how much are they worth?
Well, with Dak Prescott, I think we can all say Carson Wentz is definitely better than Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott is a guy who he's not going to elevate the talent around him, but he's going to play at exactly what you need him to be if you're giving him the talent.
And see, as a Cowboys fan, I'm fine with that. I mean,
yeah,
I know what I'm going to get from him. He's going to most likely win our division, get us to the playoffs, and maybe win a game. I mean, that's all right. And the way that our defense is, how young they are, and the way they're progressing, if we can rely on them to win us a Super Bowl, and Dak Prescott just plays right how he has been, that's great.
Now, the only issue really that when it comes to it is when you can obviously see that everyone is playing to their level, but the quarterback is the reason why they're not getting there. Now, if the Cowboys ever reach that point, that's when it's time to move on. I don't think they're there yet. I think the Cowboys probably have the most talented roster in the NFL. But I don't think they're ready to move on from Dak Prescott yet, because I don't think that they're ready to make that leap. If Dak Prescott is the one to take them there, I don't know if he's that good. Honestly, I would have to see it. I'm not a genius when it comes to this stuff. I have to see that. But when it comes to Carson Wentz, I think more of his struggles came in the third year, because this second year, he was the MVP until he tore his ACL. He was the best quarterback in the NFL that year until he tore his ACL. Had a good first year. It wasn't the greatest, but it was good for a rookie, as you expected with a completed
Dak
roster.
had a better rookie season. Yeah.
Dak had the best rookie season. Him and Ezekiel Elliott. That was just a dream season. But Carson Wentz definitely had a great second season. His ACL tear kind of carried over into his third season, like I had predicted. They had a wobbly season, still made the playoffs. But I'm looking at Carson Wentz more as the second-year guy rather than what happened last year, because now Nick Foles is gone. And I know that Nick Foles was playing better. It looked like the team just played better for Nick Foles. But now that he's gone, there's no way that you could have had both those guys on the roster, especially having to pay both of them, because I mean, that is a confidence killer for Carson Wentz, because
that's a locker room problem too, because you have some guys who are like, man, we want to ring with Nick Foles. I want to play for Nick Foles, and then there's guys that are like, well, Carson led us to that point before Nick Foles took over. I want to play for him. It would just be a locker room debate and battle the whole season long. You couldn't have that.
Yeah, exactly. But I'm hoping that Mahomes is not going to have that same sort of thing. He seemed
I don't expect him to.
I don't either. Now, the one thing I think that was an obvious hole in Mahomes' game was his footwork, but he can make up for it because he has that howitzer on his right shoulder. So that's something that he's going to look to improve. I'm not sure how it's going to be next year. I'm hoping, you have a repeat of last year. The offense is just as good, and that defense is already much, much better than it was last year, roster-wise. So hopefully that's what happens. But back to Russell Wilson. One question that's been going around the league a lot that I think is really compelling is, how many QBs would you build around before you got to Russell Wilson? So, and that's including age and talent and skill. So, how many QBs would you build your roster around and then getting to Russell Wilson?
Probably Aaron Rodgers is a guy I would
build around. Aaron Rodgers, he's 35.
Okay, so you're looking for
build
right now. Okay, for the future,
right now,
like young guys. Okay,
age. That include. I'm gonna exclude contract. Just a quarterback that you think that will have continued success that you can build around through the future. I have 3.
Baker.
Okay.
Is he on your list?
No,
No.
no.
All right.
I'll give you time. I'll go with mine, and I'll give you time to think about it.
Okay.
Okay. So a lot of what went into it is, for me, I wanted to put Baker on there. I don't think Baker's going to have sustained popularity like people are giving him right now. There's going to be times where Baker, last year, almost everything went right as soon as he started. There's going to be things in the NFL season throughout his entire career that are not going to go his way. And I don't believe that he can handle the media well enough that people will not turn on him. I don't see this working well. It just doesn't seem like something that can sustain for 15 years. And then you have to have a boring quarterback if you want to stay popular in the media. If you don't want to be any controversial, you have to have a boring quarterback. And that's why I like guys like Andrew Luck, like Patrick Mahomes, like Dak Prescott. He's a perfect personality to have as quarterback. But the three that I have is one, Patrick Mahomes, big surprise. Two, Deshaun Watson. And number three, I have I'm trying to think. Wow, I'm blanking on it right now. Deshaun Watson. Look, I had him. It's not Baker Mayfield, and I was very close.
Lamar Jackson, maybe?
No, not Lamar Jackson. Carson Wentz. There we go. Yeah, Carson Wentz. And I excluded Jared Goff because I do feel like as much as I defend Jared Goff and I do like his game, I feel like there is a little bit there where he's not 100% confident in his ability. I do feel like under pressure sometimes he does panic a little bit, but he's still only a third-year guy, so he has plenty of time to work that out. Those are typical young quarterback issues that he can work through. But I'm very high on Russell Wilson. I absolutely love the guy. He's 30 years old. I don't see why you can't get another decade out of him.
I would probably put Baker because I've always been around the hype in him. I think he can still be a guy, and it looks like they've already kind of started to build around him. Patrick Mahomes, obviously, and then I would pick Dak Prescott to build around also. No bias. But honestly, like what we said, I think if you can put a good defense around him, solid running back, solid wide receivers like they have, you're going to be able to get to the playoffs with him. You're going to be able to have the chance to win a Super Bowl every year. He's going to do just enough, and that's a good guy, I think, to build around. Not a guy you're going to say, oh, he's going to fall off, and, I don't think that's ever going to happen with him.
Okay, well, let me flip the situation on you then. What if you put Russell Wilson in Dallas? I think they're a Super Bowl contender winning. I think they win the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So that would mean that age would be a big factor for you.
Yeah, I think age.
Because obviously Russell Wilson is miles ahead of Dak Prescott.
Yeah.
So then age would be okay. All right.
Yeah, age would be the big factor in that. Plus, Russell Wilson, I think, just has more experience in playoff situations, obviously, than Dak at this point. So yeah, age would be the biggest factor in that.
Yeah, Mayfield, Mahomes, Dak.
Yep.
Is that it?
That would be it. I'm not as confident in Carson Wentz as you are.
Really?
Yeah.
Not Deshaun Watson either.
Nope, not in Deshaun Watson either. No.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. So you have both of those. You have the only one that we had together was Mahomes,
which is an automatic.
he is an automatic. He is the one guy.
He's an automatic.
He is. That's surprising. I felt as though Carson Wentz was is an easy number 1 and 2.
I'm not as high on him. But
is it because he plays
not
Eagles?
The biggest Eagles fan.
Yeah.
I try to push that aside as much as I can, but I truly don't think that he has the level of talent that Dak has. I don't. He has the size advantage for sure, but I think Dak is better.
Oh, man. Austin, this hurts.
Just like Derek Carr is better than Mahomes.
Okay, Austin, I can't let you get away with this one. I can't. We both know Carson Wentz is by far more talented and he's better than Dak Prescott.
I don't know that.
We know this.
No, I don't.
You really don't think so? Arm strength goes to Carson Wentz. He's bigger. He's more mobile. Maybe with the ACL, maybe he's not as mobile right now. I'm not sure. I'll have to see that next season. He's had in this short period of his prime that we've seen so far, he's had more success in the regular season than Dak Prescott. I'm more inclined to believe that is the Carson Wentz that we'll see rather than last year.
See, I don't know if we're going to see that though. I mean, I don't.
So many things though for the Eagles that counted against them that would lead you to believe that Carson Wentz isn't the guy that you believe he is, because they had the Super Bowl win and they got very political and they had players that were talking in the media a lot. Lane Johnson talking about the Patriots being boring. And they barely get into the playoffs. You have Carson Wentz coming back from an ACL. You have Nick Foles being.
How's he going to be coming back from the ACL though?
Well, now it's a full season back. Last year it was halfway. He's half in, half out. Now it's a full season. Carson Wentz is now the guy. You do not have to hear about Nick Foles anymore. He's in Jacksonville. He's out of there. Now, Doug Peterson, Carson Wentz, this is your quarterback coach duo for the next 15 years. I am 100% confident in Carson Wentz. There is even maybe a point in his second season that I might have put Carson Wentz over Patrick Mahomes because Carson Wentz was that good. He was special in his second year. I'm not buying the Dak. I know you love Dak Prescott and you don't like the Eagles. Come on, that's too much.
I'm not changing my mind.
I'll respect that, but the people at home won't.
None of the viewers will. I'm hated.
Okay, moving on to some more NFL. Something that we haven't really gotten around to so far. The Green Bay Packers, a lot of stuff have gone on in the offseason when it comes to Aaron Rodgers and Mike McCarthy. There was a story that had been published. I forget the writer's name, but he had transcribed, I think it was 25,000 words of evidence about this situation between Aaron Rodgers versus pretty much former head coach Mike McCarthy. Mike McCarthy, instead of going to team meetings, was getting massages, and that Aaron Rodgers was rolling his eyes and changing plays just to spite McCarthy, and that Aaron Rodgers was bitter because McCarthy said that Alex Smith was a better prospect that year that he got drafted rather than Aaron Rodgers. There was a lot of internal discord. Austin, first of all, do you believe any of this? And second, who would you side with on this one?
I don't know if I really believe it, honestly. I don't think they had such a feud with each other and they just could never get along. I mean, I feel like when you win a Super Bowl with your head coach, that's something that you're like, we're together through it all. Like, I feel like there wasn't that much of a feud as there was made out to be.
Well, I would tend to agree with you, but this writer, I'm spacing on his name once again. But I listened to a podcast that he had done with Adam Lefkoe. It was called the Lefkoe Show, and he had said that he had described about 25,000 words, about 40 different sources that indicated exactly this stuff happened. Guys like Jermichael Finley and Greg Jennings, guys who were willing to put their name on it. And then Aaron Rodgers comes out and says that this guy's trying to run a smear campaign and that, there wasn't as much discord as he said. He said, yeah, there were some problems, but of course, at the end of the day, they were fine. I don't believe Aaron Rodgers for a second. I don't. I've always looked at this guy since he came in the league as a guy who believes that he's better than everybody. And my dogs are barking.
But he is.
But not anymore. I mean, he had a dreadful season last year compared to everything else with the knee problem. But a guy that is smug in the media, has no problem telling the media exactly what he's thinking, and whether it's good or bad. I 100% believe this. Aaron Rodgers strikes me as a petty quarterback. Last season, all you saw was exasperation. Why didn't you run that route? Why couldn't he catch that? It's just a bunch of drama that Aaron Rodgers is bringing. But Mike McCarthy's not exactly a saint in this one either. If all of what has been transcribed is true, both of these guys are plenty at fault. But I would not want a quarterback like Aaron Rodgers. I do not care about the talent. I would rather take a guy with half the talent and more character then if this is true, I want to emphasize that. If this is true, that means Aaron Rodgers is a guy with low character to me. A guy who is a petty guy who cares about himself more than the team. That's what this story seems, if it is true. I just have I have a hard time believing that it's not true.
It's tough because you're right. If it is true, both guys are at fault to me, like you said.
Right.
That's what makes it so tough. It's like I don't know if it's true because I still feel like when you win a Super Bowl with somebody, I feel like anything that happens since then, I don't know if I believe it.
Years ago, that was a long time ago.
Yeah.
And they have not.
So do you think maybe there's some frustration then with saying, we won a Super Bowl, so why can't we do it again? What's the problem? Kind of attitude, like why are we doing this? Why, you know?
Exactly. That's exactly what happened. I believe. I mean, exactly. You win the Super Bowl, and then there's this drop off when it comes to success, and then next thing you know, you're not making the playoffs, and the offense is not as great as it used to be. It's very stale. And you have Aaron Rodgers looking around like, what's going on? He thinks he's smarter than everyone in the building. And you know what? Even if it is true, which it might be, you cannot have that attitude. It's not something that's acceptable. So I'm if this is true, I'm not okay with Aaron Rodgers at all doing any of this. And I think it's time to move on.
It's time to move on from him?
If this is true, yes. I do not. This is just a personal thing for me. I do not want guys in the locker room that have this kind of attitude. That I need what I want in order for this team to have success. You need to build around guys who are team guys, not a guy that says I get what I want and then everything else works out. That's not how this works.
Who else is like that? You think?
Guys in history, probably guys like Dan Marino. Probably guys who have not Ryan Leaf, guys who've not been good with teammates. Jamarcus Russell, you can go down the list. Some guys are successful and some aren't. And right now, I'm just not liking this. And this has also been going on for a very long time. We've all known this for a very long time. So I'm not buying Aaron Rodgers on this one. I don't think it's true. I don't think what he's saying is true. And I'm not. I could see that. I could see him doing all this.
Yeah. Okay. So I'll go on the mindset of if it's true, he's in the wrong. So I'll go with Team McCarthy. I'm with you if it's true. If it's true.
Yeah. Okay. Moving on to the MLB. Kind of a topic that's been discussed a little bit lately because of the Royals. Actually, yesterday the Royals and the White Sox play. Tim Anderson hits a 2-run jack off of Brad Keller. Tosses his bat over to the dugout, screaming at his teammates, trying to get him fired up. Some people thought it was a little too much. Some people are okay with it. And then Brad Keller, next time he comes up, he just pegs him right on the hip. And big brawl, not a brawl exactly, a scuffle, I'll call it.
Bench is cleared.
Yeah, bench is cleared. Wasn't really a whole lot of action. The most action was between Rick Renteria and Ned Yost, the two managers. Now it's also begging the question, is baseball are they staying with the unwritten rules, or is it the new attitude of let the kids play? And which one is the one that should be embraced?
The one that I like is the unwritten rules of baseball. I like the unwritten rules of baseball of if some young player hits a 2-run home run in the 4th inning of a meaningless game and absolutely chucks his bat towards his dugout, hyping up and going nuts, act like you've been there before. Act like you've hit a home run once in your life. Yeah. Like, you hit a home run, okay, that's great. Why do you have to freak out? You've hit a home run before, haven't you? Like, it's not that. You're playing against the Royals. Both teams suck. So, come on. So, when you're showboating like that for really no reason, you're going to get the other pitcher kind of upset, I would say. Like, it was a bad mistake. He knows it. He doesn't need to see it. So, he's going to let you know about it. He said, here's how I feel about you doing that. Yeah. And so then he gets up. So then Anderson gets upset. Good grief. And a lot of people are like, oh, he's having fun. Let him flip his bat and all that. But it's like, act like you've been there before. Act like you've hit a home run for once in your life. You know who should have had the bat flip? Dozier should have had the bat flip. That was a home run in the 10th inning that won the game.
Right.
That's a bat flip moment, not a home run in the 4th inning. Come on. Act like you've been there. A bat flip is a game winner. That's understandable. Right. So that's my thoughts on it. I like the unwritten rules. But what I think it's trending towards is more people saying, let's bat flip on every single RBI because that makes it more fun, Bryce Harper.
Yeah. I do tend to side with unwritten rules a little bit more, but I do think that there are some things that I think should go away in baseball and some unwritten rules. That one is not one of them. Okay, I understand a bat flip. That was a bat throw. That was a showing the pitcher up. That was a
showboat saying, haha, look what I just did to you.
Right. I like the fact that you can bat flip. Hey, I hit one out, toss the bat a little bit, and you get to go around the bases, and that's fine. People are okay with that. Throwing the bat to dugout, screaming at the dugout, yanking your head around, trying to act like you're the best shortstop in baseball when you're not even the second best in the division. It's going to rub people the wrong way. Yeah. Also, Brad Keller pegged him perfectly. Hit him right on the hip in the midsection. It's exactly where you're supposed to hit him. Didn't go for the head or the legs. It was clean. It was totally clean. It's what's been happening for hundreds of years. I think that's fine. I think there are some stupid rules that should go away, like last year with Ronald Acuna. He had torched the Marlins in this 3-game series. Had like 3 home runs. He was during that home run leadoff home run streak that he had of like 5 straight games. And because he had so much success, they hit him right in the elbow. First of all, that's too high. And second of all, I don't like the fact that you get hit because you're having success. He was not showing any pitcher up. He was just having a great series, and they hit him.
He wasn't showboating or anything. He was just playing well.
He did not deserve it. And I think there's some other rules like walking if you brush across the pitcher's mound. They get upset about doing that. There are some rules, unwritten rules in baseball that need to go away, and that they're just, I don't know why they're ever made in the first place. But stuff like that, completely fine. I think that's totally okay. So I think there's a happy medium there. But what happened yesterday, I think, is something that needs to continue. You cannot let guys be doing that. That's over the line. I think that's too much.
Yeah, and it spilled over into Twitter too. There were a lot of people, and CC Sabathia even commented on it this morning on ESPN. So it's like everyone's talking about the White Sox and the Royals game yesterday in the afternoon on a Wednesday.
Because this is a big debate that's been since the beginning of the year for baseball, because they're running these ads saying, let the kids play, let them do whatever they want. This generation is trending more towards that rather than the unwritten rules. So it's like an internal battle in baseball. It's cool to watch, but I feel like maybe me and you might be on the wrong side of this, honestly.
Yeah, it's definitely trending the other direction of let them go crazy.
Either way, though, not going to ruin the sport. I'm hoping. I think the sport's gonna be intact no matter what. I don't think any of these. I think the unnecessary unwritten rules that you just look at and just like, that's just stupid. I think those will go away. But I think stuff like what happened yesterday, I think we can.
Well, some of the rules already kind of have, like sliding into the second baseman on like a double play opportunity. Some of that stuff has kind of already gone away.
Right. Okay, moving on to the NBA. More playoff games here tonight. Lot of series that feel like they've already been decided. Like Houston, they routed the Jazz for a second straight game. The Bucks are just embarrassing the Pistons once again. But tonight we have 3 games going. We have the 76ers and Nets. They're tied at 1-1. We have the Nuggets and Spurs also tied at 1-1. And the Clippers and the Warriors also at 1-1. So we have a lot of action going on tonight. Who do you like for tonight's games?
I like the Warriors again. I think they're pretty fired up that they let that 31-point lead slip away, for one. And 2, I think they're going to be fired up to try and win for Boogie. But the Nuggets Spurs could be pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Because I think DeRozan, I think, is a guy who's really trying to prove himself. And I know you and I aren't really high on the Nuggets because they don't really have that. To me, they don't really have that superstar guy.
Yeah.
I mean, Jokic is a superstar, but I mean, he's not a DeRozan, Kawhi, Steph superstar, you know.
Yeah.
And then for the Toronto Magic game, I think that first game might have been kind of a fluke because you and I mentioned if Kyle Lowry does literally anything in that game, they win. And then the Nets and the Sixers, that could be interesting as well. Let's see. Who do I? All right, so if I picked all four, I would pick Golden State, San Antonio, Toronto. Man, I'll give Brooklyn game 3. I'll give Brooklyn game 3.
I'll almost mirror those. I'll go with Golden State, obviously. I'll go with the Raptors. I'm gonna go with the Nuggets. That's just a hopeful pick, and then I'll also go with the Nets. So
okay,
that's pretty much the same one. But the biggest series I think everyone's looking at because of pretty much the optics on it is the Thunder and the Portland Trailblazers. And some say it was just a 3-6 matchup, I believe.
Yes.
But it's not. It kind of has a lot on the line when it comes to
a lot on the line for both teams, yeah.
Because of Paul George's injury, he can barely get his arms above his head. I mean,
he's not 100%.
He's not 100%. He's not even close to 75%. He's not in good shape. Russell Westbrook is not able to carry this team. So can we are the Thunder dead and buried?
They are. I think they are. And they were my pick to make some noise. I thought they were a team that could advance maybe even to the Western Conference Finals. I thought they could be able to advance.
Yeah.
But Portland is playing with a different level. Damian Lillard and CJ McCollum are not messing around at all.
Neither is Enes.
Clearly, Russ can't carry this team, and Paul George is not 71. It's perfect what you said. He's not even 75% healthy.
Yeah.
I mean, he can't shoot, and Damian Lillard and CJ McCollum are not missing. So I think they're done. I think they might get swept, honestly.
Yeah. After I watched that first game, that's all I had to see. It's over. Unless Russell Westbrook turns the clock back to when he was playing with KD, it's over.
Yeah, and they were my pick to advance pretty far, and I don't think they're going to make it out of this at all.
With this being said, I would not be now the Trailblazers are probably my favorite to get to the Western Conference Finals. I think them and Golden State because I'm loving what I'm seeing from Damian Lillard. He's playing inspired. Same with CJ McCollum and Enes Kanter, who was value-wise probably one of the best playoff pickups you could get. I mean, he's playing out of his mind right now. So I'm liking what I'm
Houston. Do you think Houston can beat Golden State without Boogie?
With the way Houston's playing right now, I would not put it past them. Houston's playing their best basketball of the season right now. That is the most important part when it comes
to did you see that step back James Harden missed?
Man,
that would have been the most disrespectful play maybe of all time.
It would have been. That's the word.
But I agree. I think that could be a very interesting second round series without Boogie.
Right. Okay. Now I want to get this question out because Austin, we kind of talked about this on one of the first shows that we had done, and I've been thinking about it for a very, very long time. And it's just a tough question because there's so many options. What sport do you think produces the best all-around athletes? And for me, this took a lot of thought, but I think I've got it. You go. I want you to go first because I remember you saying who you want.
Yeah, I think the NBA has the best all-around athletes. Because I think basketball, for one, is a sport that maybe requires some of the most amount of skill as well as athleticism. Because you can't just be a freak athlete and be able to shoot. Like, that requires a lot of skill to be able to shoot the way that some of these guys can. But then you have freak athletes like Giannis nowadays who, how do you stop guys like that? How do you stop guys like Giannis? How do you stop guys like LeBron who are just absolute monsters, can jump through the roof, can shoot lights out. Like guys like Steph, and I think I've always had this opinion that I think they have the best athletes because I think it has a great level of basketball requires a serious amount of skill that a lot of people underestimate. There's a lot of people who think, oh, I can play basketball, and then they go try play basketball. It's a lot harder than people think, and then the way that these guys can move up and down the court and throw it down is pretty unbelievable.
Yeah, I'm gonna disagree with you on that one. I have kind of an unorthodox sport, but for me, what the categories I kind of broke it down into is endurance, is physical shape. Like these guys are in literally the best shape that their body can physically be in. When it comes to athleticism, when it comes to like vertical and stuff like that, NBA and track stars are gonna be right in there.
Yeah.
I went with, and surprise, surprise, MMA fighters. These guys are literally built to go to war with another human being. They have the strongest endurance. Maybe a marathon sprinter would be the other one. Probably not even that. Their endurance is unlimited. Their gas tank is insane. Their bodies are literally in physical peak condition that they can physically be in. They're literally built to take damage and to give out damage. The sport itself requires, I think, the most skill as opposed to, I'll say, skill pardoned with athleticism as well, because you have to have both. You cannot have just one, because it takes a lot of skill. People think it just takes athleticism or just power to just knock somebody out. It does not. You have to set things up. You have to have some accuracy. You have to have some skill, some touch to some punches, to some kicks. I think MMA fighters are the best athletes. If I had to find a guy that I say can do everything within the limits of a human body, I think that they would be the number one guy.
Okay. I think the endurance factor is a pretty big for you. And
the fact that NBA players train their body to play the sport. MMA fighters train their body to live, to survive. Like it's literally a survival tactic. So that's also a big thing for me.
Okay.
NBA trainers are looking to jump higher, to run faster, and MMA fighters are literally looking to maximize
not die.
Not die. They're looking to maximize every single body part, which is incredible to me. So I'm going with MMA fighters.
That is.
Yeah. Boxers are also up there, but they don't have, their lower half is kind of, footwork is kind of the only thing that they train. They don't really have to train everything down low. So MMA fighters, I think are the best athletes. But that is I think you could make the case for almost anybody. There's a lot of guys that you could really make the case for. But I think those two are pretty close. And NFL players are up there as well.
NFL players.
NHL, when it comes to skill, there's not a more skillful sport than NHL, than hockey.
For sure. Yeah.
So there's a lot that goes into it. So, okay, moving on to top five. This is the back half of the show. The segments are officially going. Top five lists, and we did two sports this time. I couldn't really think of anything outside of sports. A little less creative today for me.
That's hard to believe.
I know. I had all say.
Except sports. What else have we talked about ever?
I don't know. Not a whole lot. Not a whole lot. So we're gonna stop. We're gonna start. Top five running backs. Yeah, you guys have a good one. Top five running backs in the NFL right now, and I'll go first. There's a guy on this list that Austin doesn't have that I think is the most underrated back in the NFL. Some say because he's white. I'm just kidding. Christian McCaffrey at number 5 for the Carolina Panthers. Underrated speed. Agility is great. He can run in between the tackles, even though it's kind of a myth that people think he can't. The stats prove that he can run in between the tackles. And he's the best wide receiver by a mile when it comes to running backs. Because he could be a stud wide receiver by himself, but he's good.
Imagine him be put in a slot type position. He would do well.
He had 100 rushing attempts last year and 100 receptions. That's incredible. Who can do that? So I have Christian McCaffrey at number 5. I have David Johnson at number 4. Kind of sentimental. Last year he did not have a very good year, but who did in Arizona? So I got David Johnson number 4 because of what he did in the past. Number 3, I have Todd Gurley. He should be number 1 for me, but the playoffs really scared me. I don't know what happened in the playoffs in the Super Bowl. So Todd Gurley slipped down number 3 for me. Saquon Barkley, number 2. You just 1 year in. I refuse to give any number 1 spot to anybody that is just out of their rookie year. I got to see the second year, like I've been saying.
Yeah. Said the same thing for quarterbacks too.
Yeah, same thing with quarterbacks, every single position. I got to see your second year. So Saquon Barkley, I got number 2. He can catch the ball just as well as he can run it. He can run it pretty dang good. So, and then I got Ezekiel Elliott at number 1. When I look at a guy who does literally everything on the field, he can pass block, he can catch the ball, he can run you over, and he can spin past you. He can do literally everything, and he does it. So I'm going with Ezekiel Elliott at number 1. I love the guy. I think he's already a Hall of Fame running back.
I respect that. Number 5 for me, this may be kind of a hot take because he sat out a year, not because of injury, but Le'Veon Bell.
Mm-hmm.
I just think back to he's kind of a guy who can do everything as well. Kind of similar to Christian McCaffrey. He's really good at receiving. We know what he can do when he gets in an open field. Yeah, exactly. 4, I also have David Johnson. And again, it's exactly what you said in the fact that, he wasn't having a great year, but we both know what he can do. Everyone knows how much of a monster this guy is. He seems to be an MVP candidate every time he's healthy because he's just that much of a factor on the field. You always have to know where he's at. You always have to make sure you're in the right position to tackle him because if you're not, he's going to make you miss easily.
Yeah.
3, I actually put my man Zeke here. Because I agree with you in the fact that he can do pretty much everything. But a lot of people say, a lot of it is because of his offensive line. Whereas the guys I have in front of him don't have the offensive line that he has. So that's kind of my factor. But he's a beast. Let's eat.
Let me say this real quick. He had that offensive line for 1 year. They have not been healthy then. Last year, the Rams had a better offensive line than the Cowboys did. That is a fact. Their offensive line from the edges was better than the Cowboys. I'm tired of hearing that. Give Ezekiel Elliott some damn credit.
Yes.
Not you.
I agree, but I'm trying not to be biased.
Yeah. I got
because I agree. But I would like to see because I think Ezekiel Elliott could do just as well as these guys. Yeah. If he was on their team. Like if Zeke played for the Giants, I think he would still be a monster. A lot of people are like, oh no, he's not that good. It's just his offensive line. I don't buy that because I think he's a monster.
It's a lazy excuse.
Todd Gurley, I have it too. Because I think when he's healthy, he's always an MVP candidate. He's just an absolute monster. I mean, runs over guys, makes a miss. He's good in the backfield, good at catching passes. The number 1, I have Saquon Barkley. I truly think this guy could be the best back in the league for several years. Yeah. What he showed last season with maybe one of the worst offensive lines in the entire NFL is pretty remarkable. This guy's legs are about that freaking big around, man. I mean, are you kidding me? It's so hard to bring him down. He's so athletic in the open field. I think if you give him an offensive line like LA, that man he could win MVP.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with you on that. I do believe that.
I'd like to see him after his second year, though, so I understand why he's not your number 1.
Exactly. I'm gonna have to see what he's like you said, after his second year. But I do have a feeling that he's gonna be a number 1 in the league for a very long time after this year. After this year, I do have a feeling he'll probably be the number 1 for a while. So he's my number 2 just because I'm reluctant to give him the crown yet.
That's fair.
He'll get it. I mean, I feel like we both know that. So, okay. And now we have another sports top 5. I think you guys can live with it. Top 5 favorite, not best, favorite athletes. This is my favorite ones. So you go ahead, Austin.
All right. So number 5 for me, I have Colin Klein, big K-State guys.
Mm-hmm.
My all-time favorite K-State football player. won us a Big 12 championship, was in the Heisman Trophy candidacy. He was just so much fun to watch. That's a guy too. He's a really nice guy. So he's number 5 for me. Number 4, I had to put a Royals guy up there, so I picked the joy of the Royals franchise and Salvi, World Series MVP. Had one of the greatest hits of Royals history back in 2014. Right against the A's.
Yeah. I mean, he should have missed the ball. It was a terrible swing, but he got lucky.
Just the worst swing of all time, but he got it to go.
He's got some of the worst plate discipline you'll ever see from a hitter. But I love Salvi.
It makes no sense because he's a catcher too, so you feel like you'd be able to see the ball a little bit better than most, but
free swinger.
He cannot. Number 3 for me is a guy probably unheard of. Actually, definitely probably unheard of by most. Jamar Samuels. He was a Kansas State basketball player. And the reason behind this is, so when he was first kind of came to Kansas State, there was a Midnight Madness event going on, like you see a lot of colleges do.
Yeah.
And I went to that, and there was an autograph thing, and I didn't do the autograph thing, but I walked by, and he pointed us out and was talking to us and joking around with us just cause. And then we sat in the first row of Bramlage in Manhattan for the game, for the Midnight Madness thing. And he came up to us after the game and talked to us for 20 minutes. Just the coolest dude. Just so great. And he's unheard of, not any statistical, any big thing at all for Kansas State.
Yeah,
but he's the coolest dude I've ever. And I was young at the time, so it was just oh my gosh, you're awesome.
Yeah, it's a favorite athlete, so you can't have a wrong
favorite. So that's my number 3. Number 2, also a favorite, Miles Austin. He played for the Dallas Cowboys, so that's a factor. I have his jersey. But one of my all-time greatest moments of my entire life was went to a Dallas Cowboys Chiefs game in Arrowhead, and he had the game-winning touchdown in overtime, the first play of overtime. 75-yard hook route all the way to the end zone. One of the greatest moments of my entire life. The Dallas Cowboys beat the Chiefs. It was amazing. And they wore their throwback jerseys, which are my favorite. And then number 1, LeBron. I think he's the best player of all time in the game of basketball. I also have kind of a back when he played for Cleveland the first time, he played against Minnesota, and Kevin Garnett was still with Minnesota. I sat 3 rows behind Cleveland's bench, and he went over and he did his scores table thing with the powder, and then he came back to the bench, and I was yelling. I was LeBron, LeBron, and he looked at me and went like that. Fan for life, automatic. Just because of that he acknowledged me sitting there. Oh my God. The greatest basketball player of all time, my favorite athlete of all time. There you go. A lot of personal stories with all those, but
yeah, you can't knock any of it, really. Okay, number five for me. I tried to, maybe these might not be my top 5, but I tried to pick one from each sport that I could put on here. So number 5, I put Cody Garbrandt. He's my favorite MMA fighter right now. He's fighting for the UFC, obviously. Former bantamweight champion. He's fighting at Team Alpha Male in Sacramento. A guy who has a lot of power. I like. He's had a few losses lately because he's kind of a nutcase a little bit. He kind of gets a little emotional, loves to go for the knockout. So he's gotten caught a few times the last couple fights. But I love the way he fights. I think he has some of the most potential, and I love watching him fight. So I got Cody Garbrandt, number 5. Number 4, I have the greatest college basketball player of all time, Fred VanVleet. He's the best. I say he's the best Wichita State Shocker of all time because I truly believe that. He's the winningest Wichita State Shocker of all time. Led us to our Final Four run against beating Gonzaga and Ohio State that year, playing Louisville. Undefeated season, going and actually getting knocked out in the second round in Kentucky. And then several more years of regular season success. The March didn't exactly work out the last year he was here. But Fred VanVleet, just the most composed point guard, having a great career in the NBA, like I had predicted. I said that he was going to be a good player, not a great player, but he's exactly doing that. One of the Sixth Man of the Year award winners, finalist at least. I think he is this year. Number 3, I have my favorite baseball player of all time, Lorenzo Cain. And a guy that might sneak on this list here in a couple of years might be Ronald Acuna Jr. because he's special. But right now, Lorenzo Cain, I'm a sucker. I'm a Royals fan, in my heart. I'm a sucker for guys who play defense. And you cannot find a guy who plays center field better than this man, Lorenzo Cain. And he's still robbing home runs at the age of 30.
Yes.
He's 75% of the earth is covered with water. The rest is covered by Lorenzo Cain.
That may be one of the greatest Royals statements ever made.
That is a sign that was put up in the Royals Stadium, and it now will forever live on.
Oh yeah.
He was a finalist for AL MVP the year that we had swept our way to the World Series. He has power, contact, and you know what? He just has a good time out there. He's got a smile. He's just the coolest guy. You want him on your team.
The best moments were when Salvi and him would always just be joking around with each other. Always. That was so great.
I loved it. I absolutely loved it. And Lorenzo Cain reminds me of a lot of Torrey Hunter back in the day. I love everything about this guy. Even with Milwaukee, you just can't help but love him. So Lorenzo Cain, number 3. Number 2, the reason I got into basketball in the first place, Tracy McGrady. And
very nice.
In his prime, he might have been better or as good as Kobe Bryant. And that stat-wise, there is no debate. They're almost identical. Played a similar style of basketball. His injuries obviously cut his career a little bit short of what it should be. But no doubt, one of the most dominant players of his time when he was healthy. Him and Yao Ming in the Rockets, in the Magic, in the Raptors. Just a guy that's just a throwback. Just so fun to watch. I mean, he patented the windmill dunk. Just a beautiful style of play that he had. Well, Tracy McGrady, I love you. Okay, number one, the greatest running back to ever live, Jamal Charles, the running back for the Kansas City Chiefs. And you know what? Let me say this: barring the injuries, if he had 0 knee problems, we were talking him as a top 10 running back of all time. I guarantee that. Obviously, the injuries did happen, so that's not something that we're going to do. But I believe he finished first all time in rushing per attempt, and I think it was 5.1 yards per attempt, which is insane. I can't. If you didn't watch Jamal Charles, you missed it. This is a guy that when he got the ball, he was the only guy in the NFL that you thought this could go to the house. Every single time he had the ball, you thought this is going to the house. Jamal Charles, just my favorite running back of all time, was a workhorse for the Chiefs through some bad years and through some good ones there toward the end. Just my favorite running back of all time, a guy who had so much getaway speed. Just love the guy. Jamal Charles, number 1.
Very nice. Very nice.
Oh, okay. Now on the last segment, pump the brakes. Now we got 4 for you guys this time. So I'll start you off. Number 1, Austin. Brooklyn and New York are the new hot free agent destinations. Pump the brakes.
Well, I think they've always been strong free agent destinations just because of Madison Square Garden and the city of New York itself. But I'm going to pump the brakes because I think there's better free agent destinations out there. One that comes to mind, honestly, might even be the Los Angeles Clippers. I think that's a pretty serious free agent destination that I would pick over definitely New York, but Brooklyn is probably a pretty good free agent destination right now, I would say. So I would probably say pump the brakes on the Knicks, and I like Brooklyn being a strong free agent destination, especially with the way Russell has been playing.
Yeah, I like both of them. I like both of them a lot. Because I think New York, I think it's finally.
Do you think it depends a lot on what New York does in the draft?
Yes, if they get Zion,
it
shoots up to number 1. It shoots up to number 1, truly. I think that guy has – I think Zion has that big of an impact on people.
He does. I agree 100%. I agree 100%.
Yeah. And then Brooklyn, I think – why wouldn't you want to go play with D'Angelo Russell? This team is just the greatest story in the NBA. Full of guys who have been pushed aside, demeaned, say, you guys, you're overlooked, not good enough, get a second chance. And you know what? You want to go play with those guys because they have heart. They have fight in them. I love Brooklyn. I love D'Angelo Russell as the next guy in Brooklyn. I think both of them, if I'm looking to go somewhere, those are the two places. I think you're right with when it comes to the Clippers. And if I didn't care about the city itself, Utah is also a very big destination for me. But a lot of people do care about that nightlife and all that sorts of stuff. But Brooklyn, New York, Brooklyn's certainly number one. So, number two, pump the brakes. D'Angelo Russell, we were just talking about him, is the next budding superstar in the NBA.
I'm not pumping the brakes.
Neither. Me either.
You were getting hopeful. You were hoping that you were like, don't say it.
Yes. I love this guy. I love the way he plays. Once again, like I said, with heart. He was just traded. The reason he got traded from LA was to get rid of Timothy Mozgov. That was the reason he got traded from LA, so that he could unload that contract. Are you kidding me? You let go of this guy. You know what? That's fine. He's all tatted up. He's got the shooting sleeve on now. I love his shot. It's a high arcing. He has the best floater in the
very pretty shot.
Very pretty floater, very pretty shot. He can orchestrate an offense. He does everything that I love. This is my favorite player in the NBA.
Wow.
Including everybody.
Trae Young?
This is who?
Over Trae Young?
Yes. D'Angelo Russell is my favorite player in the NBA. I'm just not a huge I am a Hawks fan. I'm just, NBA is just not something that I can really – I just don't like the way the game's played now. College basketball is where I'm more attracted to. But D'Angelo Russell, the way he plays the game, my favorite player in the NBA.
I respect that.
Okay, number three. This one we talked about last night a little bit. So Jared Dudley made some comments that he said Ben Simmons is terrific. He's excellent in transition. In the half-court sets, though, he said he is, quote, average. Austin, pump the brakes?
Nope. I'm not pumping the brakes. I agree. I think in transition, he's almost unstoppable. He can get to the bucket anytime he wants. But when you're in a half-court set and you can have guys that crash the paint and stop him from kicking it out to some of his shooters, what else can he really do for you? Because apparently he still can't shoot. So when he's out in transition, he's able to get to the bucket anytime he wants. He can kick it out to anyone he wants. But when you're in a half-court set, you have five guys all inside the three-point line. That limits him tremendously.
Yeah. I was very disappointed by Ben Simmons' lack of improvement this year. We talked about it last time on the show. He's absolutely right on this because what I see a lot from Ben Simmons, and it's just a strange – I've never seen someone do this before. Half-court sets, he'll bring it up, and he'll just run to the elbow, and he'll pick up his dribble. And then he just looks around. It's just the weirdest thing. I don't know why he does it. It's not something that a successful point guard does. I feel like he does that way too often. I don't feel like he utilizes the pick and roll as well as a guy should. A point guard should, I say. Ben Simmons, man, if he doesn't improve by next year, I'm not sure this guy ever will.
I know. Because we thought he was going to this year, and he didn't.
I put all my eggs into the Ben Simmons basket. I said I might be wrong, man. I mean, really, I said next LeBron. I said this is the guy that you're going to see him.
You're not the only one that said that. A lot of people said that.
Yeah. But now I'm looking like a fool. All my eggs are going to Giannis. He's convinced me wrong so many times that he is the guy for the next generation. It's going to him now. Okay. Now the last part, because unfortunately we do have to end the show once again. Austin put this one on here, which I'm very proud of him. He's looking to throw down.
I mean, the NFL schedule got released last night.
It did. The Chiefs will win more than 12 games this year. Pump the brakes?
I'll pump the brakes.
Okay. Is it more than 12 games or is it 12 or more?
12 or more.
12 or more. Okay. So you're pumping the brakes.
Yep, I'm pumping the brakes. I got him 11 games.
Okay.
They have a tough schedule.
Yeah. I'm gonna pump the brakes as well. There's a lot of things working against the Chiefs this year that didn't happen last year. Number one, just the obvious one, Patrick Mahomes. The book is out on him. Whether they can explore his or exploit his weaknesses or not. Maybe he's too good for that. Who knows? Maybe I indicate that I think he's probably too good to have a sophomore slump. Of course, I'm biased, so who knows? Who knows? We're just gonna have to see. You just gutted your entire defense. Now, I do think that we do now have more talent on the defensive end with a better contract situation with all of these guys. You have guys like Okafor and Ugba that you got from Cleveland. You have Brashad Breeland. You have Tyrann Mathieu. So I'm like Bryce Wilson, one of the linebackers from Dallas. So I'm liking what they did in free agency with the defense. But it is also a rebuild. You're basically looking at a 50% new team with Patrick Mahomes getting a new contract or looking for a new contract after this season. And he's going into his sophomore year. You got the problem with Tyreek Hill right now that hasn't really gone anywhere. Maybe who knows what's going on there. Maybe something comes out in the middle of the season, and the next thing you know, he's not on the team. Anything could happen like that. And finally, like you said, they have a very tough schedule this year.
Very tough schedule.
This is a first-place schedule. Sure.
You have Jacksonville. You don't really know how they're going to be with Nick Foles.
Mm-hmm.
The Ravens, you know how good they're going to be. The Colts are probably the second best team in the AFC, honestly.
Yeah.
Then you have teams like the Vikings, the Chargers twice, obviously. You play the Patriots again. The Titans are going to be pretty good. The Texans should be pretty good. It's not going to be easy.
Yeah. They play some tough divisions this year. So I would go with 10 to 11 wins this year because there are some unknown factors that I'm going to have to see. And you know what? Week 1 will honestly tell me a lot. So I'm going to be looking for preseason week 1, how the defense looks. Does it look any different, or are they still going to play soft like they did last year? That's a big thing for me. But I could talk for hours about the Chiefs defense. So we got to end the show, but another great one down. I mean, we're just going to keep producing this content, and it's just, I mean, we're the best out there, really. And we're very humble. Very humble about it.
Well, I mean, obviously. Very humble.
Yeah.
Very humble.
All right. I'm Jordan Griffith. He's Austin McNorton. This is Meet Me Halfway. Tune in next Monday. We'll have another episode of Fact or Fiction for you. I know everyone loves that.
Oh, yeah.
So tune in next Monday. You guys have a great day.